talk about is the Smart Compass Intelligence of Everything blockchain platform. Now, as you know, we're entering into a new normal. And the new normal is going to be really based on data. It's all about data, right? That's basically what the blockchain is all about. It's storing data, it's using data, and then creating outcomes for the data. And so what I thought we'd do is to go through a series of installations and real-world examples where the data is being utilized. And so we can tie it back into the blockchain, and we can tie it back into what we can do with the blockchain, and most importantly, how can we monetize? How can we monetize the relationship? How can we monetize the data? And how can we create value as we go forward? Does that kind of make sense as far as kind of a tone setting? And I know it sounds a little bit far off what we originally were talking about, but it'll tie back in again into the blockchain and the blockchain that we have prepared, and some of the examples and some of the tokens that we have put together. So if we go back to the data, it's all about data, and some people are looking at data as a digital assets or digital world. We're looking at data also in the real world. And that's where it gets really exciting, because if you can look at data that is tied into the real world, all of a sudden you can start creating relationships. And if you can use data as a means to create relationships, and if you can use data as a means to provide value in those relationships, then all of a sudden having it monetized makes sense. The idea here again is that if we have the new normal and we know that people are looking at data and we know that they're interacting with data, if we are able to understand who's doing what, and you will see this later on, then we can start creating experiences that are based on context. And if context is something that you can leverage, and if context is something that you can use to enhance moments of time, whether that is watching a video, whether that is watching an ad, whether that is paying for a product, or whether that is conducting a transaction, a large-scale transaction, it all ties back, and the common denominator is the data, right? And so this is a little bit of a journey that we're taking, and it's all tied back into creating a solution that can create a easy to monetize, easy to operate, and a trusted and true ecosystem that enables a delivery of value. And going back to value, that's the first thing we started about, right? If you are providing a payment mechanism, you want to tie that into a value. You want to tie that into an end user experience. You want to tie that into a product. You want to tie that into something that is of value, so somebody is willing to pay for something. Now, if you then had an ability to do this into a system that is ready and is unique and can provide value, then we're talking about timing. Timing is everything. And of course, timing is one element, but if you can then also have an ecosystem that ties together cutting-edge technologies behind and to support the data-driven experiences that is tied back into a blockchain environment, then all of a sudden you can create a ecosystem that provides value. We're going to see some really cool stuff where we have an ecosystem that is, yes, data-driven, and yes, it has a series of different technologies integrated, but it's all about driving value where it's all part of an ecosystem. Whether that is an ecosystem that is driven by a fan, whether it's driven by somebody that needs to buy gas for their car or gas for their refinery, it doesn't really matter. And this is one of the things that we're looking at. How can we leverage data? How can we leverage information? How can we leverage information and create experiences that are important and leverage technologies to deliver these experiences wherever they are important? Now, one of the things that's key into this kind of environment is the ability to understand intelligence, right? Acting on data, creating data, and delivering outcomes. Blockchain is a component of that. Payment is a component of that. The ability to deliver experiences is a component of that. And if you have a system like this where you can tie it all together, all of a sudden you can deliver measurable outcomes in the real world. We're going to see this shortly. We're an ecosystem like this. And I'm sharing this because while providing a blockchain is exciting, while providing a token can be monetized, but if you can have a token and a blockchain tied into an ecosystem that can expand further out, and if this ecosystem and this token was tied into an exchange, all of a sudden you can use this ecosystem to more than quote unquote just tokenization or just payment mechanism. I know I'm going really fast and there's a lot of high level slides here that are utterly boring, but it all ties back into this data and what are we talking about. So we're going to go back into what our ecosystem is. And as I said again, I can share this information. It's too much information on these slides, but it shows that we have an app interface. We have ecosystems in the real world. We have data with campaign management, and we have a blockchain data system. Now, blockchain data system can be the lead. And if the lead is a blockchain data system, then all of a sudden people like our friends at Jaguar and Panasonic are keen on taking their car keys and putting their car keys into an ecosystem like this. Likewise, in healthcare, this is an ecosystem that can enable a more intelligent way of providing care, whether that is a care for a senior citizen in the UK and North Somerset, which we work with, or whether it is helping people be healthy in COVID, then all of a sudden it ties into an ecosystem. Now, a bigger play could be a smart city, and the ability to have an ecosystem tied into a smart city can also be powerful. Now it starts to get a little bit more tangible because it can also be into something that we call sports. How can we engage with fans that are in the stands or in today's market, not in the stands? And how can we take a boring back-end system like this, right? This is basically what we're going to be talking about, the blockchain. But if we were going to show you slides and slides of blockchain, it would be even more boring than this, right? So what does this mean? What does a blockchain mean and what can it be used for? And how can it be used to provide value? Well, we have some friends over at Staples and AEG Worldwide. They own teams and a whole bunch of other stadiums like Lakers and LA Kings. And we're working with a whole bunch of other teams around the world that are looking at our system on how can we engage with fans, and how can we keep our fans safe when they're in the stands. Now, I'm sharing this because this shows that there's all sorts of ecosystems that can benefit from this intelligence of everything ecosystem. Intelligence of everything ecosystem enables us to create these connections, whether it's data-driven, and this is what companies like Deutsche Telekom, one of the largest telcos in the world, are keen to understand more about, and indeed so keen that they're partnering with us. So the story is this, that we're trying to drive behavior, we're rewarding behavior, and we're creating action. And let's talk about this in the real world. There's a university here in the US called Ole Miss, University of Mississippi. It's part of the SEC league, one of the top leagues in the South. And they're quite famous. There's another group called IMG that's also quite famous in the sports world, and then there's a little company that makes some drinks that some of us like, called Coca-Cola, and we have built a solution for them where we are delivering fan experiences, fan rewards. And I'm sharing this because, again, it ties back into this ability or this concept of monetization of experiences, and we're going to see this live. Because if you provide a benefit based on data, such as an reward for attending a game, all of a sudden you can create experiences that are interesting. You can communicate with a fan on their journey, and you can enhance that moment of time, whatever that moment of time is. Kind of a backstory on this. Ole Miss asked us to help them put together a reward system, because when the boys are playing football, American football, they have no problem selling out the stadium with 70,000 seats. In fact, there's another 120,000 people outside the stadium partying. But when the girls are playing real football, soccer as we call it here, uh, nobody used to come, right? So nobody comes to watch the girls kick the ball. For crying out loud, they kick the ball with the foot rather than the arm, hence football. So all of a sudden, we have the ability to encourage the fans to come to the stands. Then we have the ability to reward them for attending attending that game. And we're going to show some of this data live so you can see that this is indeed something that drives behavior. Now, with our contextual intelligence platform, we know where the fan is, we can interact with that fan, and we can serve up experiences and content and unlock experiences and information and activate a payment component, hence going back to this concept around monetization, where we know where you are, we know what you're doing, and we can serve up information that's relevant to you at that very moment of time. So this is what we do, right? This is what Ole Miss is doing. They reward you, they encourage you to come to the stands. We automatically reward you for going to the stands, and you get points. So now all of a sudden we have gamified the process of going to the game, and we're rewarding that behavior. And this is obviously a natural way to tokenize an experience. Coca-Cola likes this in so much that they are activating the stadiums. As you may recall, in the old days, you're all younger than me, so I'm not sure if you've ever done this, but when I used to go to concerts, we had lighters. And we had lighters that we held up over our heads, and that's how we interacted with the band. And everybody had lighters and burned fingertips. Now, what we've done with Ole Miss is that we've activated the app, the phone, where the phone flashlight is flashing with the sync with the music and the stadium lights. Cool, right? Now, this is one of those experiences where we engage with the fans, and the fans now in Coca-Cola asked us to do this to see if we could have a little contest and see if we could give away 500 bottles of water during a game. Well, we activated this. We created an experience where it was all on the big board, and we didn't give away the 500 bottles in the game. We gave away the 500 bottles in the first 3 seconds. So this system is powerful. This system enables us to create these experiences, these kind of engagements that are exciting and engaging. Two quick things here that are a little bit interesting. University of Mississippi has 22,500 students. We got 23,273 active users. That's installs. That's a big number. So that means that we have more than 100% of the students are using our system. What does that mean? Well, as you saw, we encourage the fans to come to the stands. We reward them for it. And we talked about this idea again that we know who's watching and we know what they're doing. So we're going to do a little bit of a big brother, big mother moment here. We're going to go in and see what's happening at Ole Miss right now. So zooming into Oxford, Mississippi. If you can see the screen here, apologies if you get dizzy. But here's University of Mississippi. And these squares and circles are what we call a geofence. When somebody comes through this with our app, we know that they're entered. We know how long they're inside this, and we know when they exited. If you see this on a satellite environment, you can see that's actually in the stadium. We actually know when the fans go inside the stadium. This is kind of cool, right? Now, why is that interesting? Well, because if we want to reward somebody, if we want to get paid for somebody, or if we want to reward somebody for coming to this place at a certain time, then we can also tokenize that environment. We're going to talk a little bit more about that. Now, so this is a geofence. This can be placed anywhere in the world. No limitations. Any gas station in the world can have one of these systems. And so anybody that is part of our ecosystem, when they come to a gas station and they might happen to have a token that is part of our ecosystem, we can encourage them to use that as a payment mechanism. Right? Why would that be interesting? Well, if we can get them onto our gateway, into our system, and into our tokens that we can trade, all of a sudden we can provide more value around that ecosystem. We also have another key component here, and these are little beacons. These are beacons that are placed at certain locations. When anybody comes into proximity to this, I know exactly where they are. We know how far away they are from that beacon, inside and outside. And now all of a sudden we can get information and we can serve up content that is relevant to that person at this very moment of time, whether they are indeed in line to get a beer. We can ensure that they get an offer to buy a Budweiser instead of a Miller, or a Coca-Cola instead of a Pepsi, or we can encourage them to go to somewhere else where we have it. Now, if
Can
we
I
want to
ask
see
a
where,
question? Sorry.
yes, please.
So basically, is this RFID tech or is this NFC?
Neither, but good
Neither.
question. This is a BLE proximity beacons. Uh,
Oh,
yeah, so
wow.
those are the beacons that I showed in the stadium.
Okay.
We can go back to this. So these are beacons.
Yeah.
As you can see, we have a high density of this. This is probably one of the highest density anywhere in the world. We had this at airports and so forth as well. We also have NFC tags. We
Yeah.
also have RFID. We also have geofences, and geofences requires zero equipment,
Yeah.
uh, right? So that's, and this is great that you know some of the technology behind it. And what's unique with our system, if you see on the left-hand side here, we can activate NFCs, we can activate AR, we can
Wow.
communicate with AR. We have digital screens and signage, so that,
No way. So
yeah.
people could just walk around with the phone with the thing with the app enabled, and they could like accidentally go over one of those NFC or one of those probably a QR code or something, right? And then up would pop like an ad or some relevant information.
Uh, Absolutely.
Wow.
Or, and this is a really cool. I'm so glad you know this kind of stuff. So we ran a campaign with Coca-Cola, right? So
Yeah.
Coca-Cola wanted to see if we could encourage fans to come into gas stations and buy Coca-Cola products. So we ran a little campaign where we activated a series of convenience stores and gas stations. And when a fan would come into that, in proximity to that gas station, they got a message to welcome them to come inside the store. And if they did and bought a Coca-Cola product and scanned that product with AR, right? No QR code, but the product itself in augmented reality, then a game would appear on that bottle or that Coca-Cola products, and they get extra points for it. So
Wow.
yeah, that's really cool shit, right?
Mm.
And this stuff, this increased attendance, this increased sales of Coca-Cola products in those participating stores by 15%. They spent no money on that campaign, no infrastructure, no marketing, no TV ads, no radio ads, only through this platform, because we know who you are, we know where you are. We can then serve our content to you at that very moment of time, and then all of a sudden we can reward you for that behavior. Look,
I was working on something like this a few years ago, but I gave up on the project because we didn't have anything this advanced. Yeah.
this is powerful stuff, and I'm glad that you're recognizing the system here, because this is indeed uh, well, let me put it this way. So
Next level marketing, next level
exactly,
advertising, next level
everything.
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the chief medical officer for Microsoft, Dr. David Room, we're working on a project with them, and he said it this way: Eric, what you have here is a gold mine. And then he corrected himself. I was saying, sorry, it's not a gold mine. It's a gold mine, a platinum, uranium, and a diamond mine all together. This is incredible. And of course, really what we're talking about here is not just the campaigns and the management we can do and verify that people are inside the FedEx building. This is athletic department at Ole Miss. We can now encourage them to go when they're here or at the Coliseum. We can get them to come over to our friends over at the Walmart Supercenter, right? We can literally drive behavior. We can literally enable interactions. And of course, when you then have the final part here where you can encourage those that go into Starbucks or a AT&T store, then all of a sudden we can enable them to do that transaction, that payment transaction, real time. This is powerful stuff, right? This is an ecosystem. This is a system that is tied into a database, tied into the ecosystem, data driven, as we mentioned. So on the left, we can go through a deep dive on this. It's going to take hours, but this is a complete communication platform. We call it contextually intelligent communication. All Miss they are using this, and they're using it. The athletic department's interns are using the system to increase attendance, and we've increased attendance by 21%. This system works. This is really cool stuff, right? So now we're saying, okay, well, what else can we do with it? But let's look a little bit at the data, because I kept talking about the data, right? So this is the data that we're capturing on the back end, and it's just a data log, right? It's data log, but I want to share with you one thing here that's kind of interesting. So these are data logs with 9 fields. It's time, it's what the action was where, type of action, which geolocation, the exact moment, who did it, their IP address, and also, let's see, no, since I should be doing myself, let's see, why don't I look me here, see where I am. All of a sudden, I just look at my app, and I want to see oops, that's not it. Where do I go? The ability to now see where people are. Oh, let's see where Jeff is. Um, and he is now in. Can you see the screen? Oh yeah, so he's down by the Fox Pizza Den, wherever that is in Tupelo, Mississippi. Now, now we can identify where a person is. So if he's outside the pizza den, we can encourage him to come inside, and if he wants to pay with one of our tokens, our currency, we can ensure that he uses that rather his Visa card, right? Because that can be beneficial for us. And of course, we can have a delivery based on and a message based on his rewards and his status. He's a VIP, so maybe he'll get 2 pizzas for the price of 1 if he pays with our system. Kind of cool, right? Kind of creepy.
Very cool.
But very powerful. And here's where this gets really crazy. So we talked about 23,000 students. We have, out of 9 records, 9 data points, we have 14,772,000 data records. That means that we have about 130 million real-world data points. This is where the gold mine. This is where the uranium mine. This is where the platinum and everything comes in because of this data. This is not data that's online behavior like our friends at Amazon does. This is real world behavior. This is what the fans are doing in the real world. And then if you can tie that into an experience into a store, and you can tie this back into actions and payments, then all of a sudden that the value in that payment mechanism that you create can be exchanged. Yes, it's tied into an oil, it's tied into an asset, but if it can be utilized, then all of a sudden you're providing the value or improving the value of that currency, because it can be exchanged for value elsewhere. Does that kind of make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's really where I wanted to take this crazy journey that we just went on, from sports teams to data gathering to real world behavior at Mississippi, outside of Walmart, by the Fox Grill. This is as real as it gets, right?
So it's not. Is it real time tracking then when they're not close to one of your locators, or like GPS based, or?
It's a combination. It is real-time tracking. It's assisted GPS. It is beacon interactions. It's geofencing. We don't track people all the time because that can get really hairy with privacy laws. Naturally, what we do is that we map you when you do an interaction within our system or our ecosystem. Right, and that's a big differentiation. We're compliance with GDPR in Europe, which is very strict. Right, so it has to be when you're in the stadium. It has to be when you are redeeming an offer. It has to do when you scan a product. It has to do when you want to see a program and you want to have, or you want to consume our content. Right, you have given us permission. We are serving something of value to you, and
Yeah.
that very moment of time is capturing.
So once you enter our zone, we can push information to you.
That's right.
Okay, I get it.
And we like to use the word present, right? We're presenting information to you because pushing get pushy. And so I know,
Well, that's the technical term.
Exactly, right? So that's exactly it. The enabling, unlocking, pushing, presenting, activating, all of the same words for the same experience. We are creating a value for you as the end user. This is something that is of interest to you, and hence of value. So let's talk a little bit about actual the blockchain. Does that make sense? We've done the journey now about the data, the intelligence in the data, the gathering of the data, the capture of the data, and then the ability to act on the data. Now, we didn't see that, but at Ole Miss, this is very key before we go in. At Ole Miss, we've done something that, to the best of our knowledge, nobody else has done, and that is the event data, the 14 million data records, as you saw, are stored real time into our blockchain. That event data is a block. That means that when somebody does something within the ecosystem, that's stored in our blockchain. And of course, when you have 70,000 people coming into a stadium, you have a lot of data come through. Our blockchain, as you will see, has no problem maintaining 1,500 transactions per second. We're maintaining peaks over a period of times where we do 5,000 transaction data storage transactions per second. This platform is fast. And it's not just tied into quote unquote just online data, digital data. It's actually taking data from the real world. This is a fundamental difference in the way that we're looking at our blockchain, in the way that it becomes an ecosystem and an extension into the intelligence of everything system. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, and again, we know that there's other in this place. We know there's Ethereum, we know there's Ripple, and of course everybody knows about Bitcoin. Different solutions. They have their place, but they also have a lot of limitations that we have overcome, because we recognize for a system to have ability to be real, and tied into the real world, not just the digital domain, also needs to have the ability to perform. So we've done this, and we're going to show that in a second, where we have this operational. We've created some tokens, and we can show how the system now can capture this data. I mean, basically, what I'm going to just paint this picture first, and I have this in the presentation so that you can see it later. But we're going to demonstrate this live as well. So, welcome to the dashboard. The ability to serve this up, the ability to have your private key. That's very critical, because of everything is encrypted. The ability to then see your balance, and the ability to create these various components, and interact with your wallet and your blockchain basically, and your tokens, in a way where you want to do this, is key. Now, this is a live instance. This is real. This is tied into a blockchain, and Brent will be able to tell more about what that means as far as the trading goes, and as far as economics behind it. I'm just a technical geek that talking about how to connect it. He's much smarter than I am in all of this aspects. But the ability to create gas and oil tokens, as you will see, is something that we've already done. So this is really cool. We have also more information about the blockchain, the capabilities, a lot of details on how it works. I'm not going to bore you with all of that now. We have a world leader, as a team member, that can describe very detailed information about this, whatever questions you may have. How the nodes are, you'll see that there's some numbers here, milliseconds of transactions and communication between the nodes. They go up and down like crazy. It's modular, it's global, it's ready, it can grow, it's easy to buy, easy to operate, easy to use. And it can tie into real world behavior, as we talked about. That behavior, whether that is in shopping, whether it's at Starbucks, it doesn't matter. It's all connected, it's all tied in, and we are ready. And here's a key component, it's tied into an exchange. And that's the last thing I do before I go into the blockchain itself and show the tokens. And that's where it all comes together again. Because if you have an exchange where if you created a token or you mined a token or you had a token, and if you can put that into an exchange where that can be exchanged for value in whether that is other tokens or that's fiat, all of a sudden you can monetize that initial digital asset that you created and turn it into quote unquote real money or real value or tangible value. I shouldn't use the word real because everything is real. Even the digital blockchain is real.
The platform administrator, this is just going to be just what you're going to see here is just the kind of your administration, what it looks like. We'll have a platform administration engine as well behind this, which you'll see all the bells and which will share all the bells and whistles and the speed, which we can create how you'd like to trade the instance. If you want to be a mining instance, or in this case where we've just, for you, Coil, Calgary Oil is kind of where we went with the tickers. I think the ticker will be CH. I think it's right there. We've just went in and created a number of coins. You can see where we've tested the coins, some just in and out transactions on those coins. If you guys are familiar with any trade engines, if you will, we can, in the past where you see bid, ask, those types of things, the gentleman that built this part of the engine, he built single stack futures environment for this Chicago exchange, mercantile exchange. And that's what this is predicated on. So everything here is FEX compliant, or in this case, that's where we get the initials BIX. And it's just a very robust trading system behind the scenes in the blockchain. Now, I understand that you want to, and stop me here if you want, I understand you want to mine for blockchain, or that's part of our Bitcoin, that's part of what you're looking to do. And we certainly can enable that. Wrong screen there, Eric. Is that the mining portion?
Yep, this is the exchange part.
Okay. We can enable the mining portion, or you can flat just trade your coins for Bitcoin or whatever the case may be. That was what you were just on was part of the blockchain.
Yep.
So it's rather simple. I mean, it's so ridiculously simple. I mean, even I understand it, but it's ridiculously simple.
I have to say it really is. It's pretty seamless, you guys.
Yeah.
This is something we've been looking for.
Yeah, it is ridiculously simple. The robustness on the back end for that, unfortunately, is not here to be seen today. But the robustness of the behind the scenes is ridiculous, to the fact that we can put in algos and trading black box technology and integrate it into your blockchain to stimulate trading and just really high-end trading, hedge fund type activity. But that comes from the fact that the creator of this, that's the world he comes from. So all this is KYC, AML, in the United States, Patriot Act type compliant technologies.
And that's really where we wanted to end up with this journey, where we started with data, right? And this is also data. It's all about the data. And as Brent was saying, this backend platform that we have is rock solid. It's built by somebody that's used to working with international currency exchanges. We can be hosted and built it however you want to do it. We can activate it and we can tokenize asset in any way and shape that you want to do it. We can enable trading, encourage trading, and enable that. And then also we can turn this into a tool that isn't just a trading tool, quote unquote. That's exciting in and of itself, but it also can be part of an ecosystem where it can become a currency that people use. That's why I wanted to show the back end of the fan engagement, right? So this ecosystem can create that new fan at home token, the Liverpool token, the Calgary ice hockey team, right? So now all of a sudden, this mechanism, this platform for platforms, IoT, real world behavior, physical behavior, mobile interactions, data-driven data gathering, and then also the blockchain that can be tokenized. All of a sudden, you have all the components into what we would say is one of the most unique ecosystems of currency creation.
Introducing Eric Beyontegard, the founder and CEO of Total Communicator Solutions Inc. and the inventor of the Spark Compass platform. This video will feature Eric and the patented Spark Compass platform, a contextually intelligent platform for platforms. Various real-world use cases will be showcased and featured. We will take you on a whirlwind and see some of the activations around the world in numerous vertical markets. Eric and the company has won awards such as the Smart American Challenge presented at the White House. Recently, Eric was awarded the top 20 most influential digital transformation leaders in the world by billion-dollar global system integrator CGI. Here's a short list of some of the awards. There's been numerous press releases by companies such as Samsung, Apple, and many others. During the various installations, the company and Eric has also received a series of certificates and approval by numerous entities in order to have installations at locations such as international airports, from FFA to home security to the U.S. Department of Transportation. Eric and his team believe in doing rather than telling, and showing real-world installation and demos rather than providing fancy PowerPoint presentations. This video is showcasing a whole series of such installations. Have fun and being hands-on are important to Eric. Here we can see that he truly lives that notion. Being engaging and living the dream, yes, it is indeed a part of the Spark Compass way. Traveling the world showcasing the platform's capabilities for fan engagement is natural to somebody that loves sports. Showcasing the innovation is clearly something that he enjoys. Spark Compass digital displays are activated via the Spark Compass augmented intelligence, creating powerful experiences even more engaging than those showcased in the Minority Report movie. Eric has no fear of going on camera and is frequently featured on TV stations around the world, talking about his passion for technology, his passion for innovation, and his passion to have fun doing both. Here we show how we activated Wimbledon with augmented reality for the fans with IBM. And here we're showcasing how we activated the island of Bermuda for the America's Cup races with engagement from the airport to the race village and into the various team compounds on the race island. Spark Compass delivered hyper-relevant, hyper-location data to the fans real-time, as well as those across the globe watching the races at home. Proving that the technology works everywhere, Eric even showcased a virtual portal into the Golden Nuggets NBA stadium inside a pub in Liverpool, England. His excitement extends to the stage that he loves to introduce partners to new technologies wherever there is an opportunity. The power of the platform enables live interactive demonstrations in corporate meetings rather than just PowerPoint presentations. Eric even volunteered for this first augmented reality business card, where he comes alive on this card. No humans were harmed in this project. Eric loves to work with other successful people, from athletes in the world of football and soccer to international hockey stars and recording artists such as superstar Selena Gomez. In this instance, he makes an old TV guide come alive, showcasing that the tech works everywhere. The platform can even make medical documentation come alive in augmented reality. Eric believes in trying, testing, and doing things hands-on. Here, he's showcasing a new functionality for tracking motion and exercises via a wearable. Showcasing technologies firsthand in real environments is another part of the powerful Spark Compass platform. Here, Eric is starting to showcase the world's first indoor navigation system at an airport. The technology for Apple integrated into the Spark Compass platform. The same platform not only tracks and navigates people indoors, it also tracks and alerts locations of the shuttle buses and takes the travelers from the parking lot to the airport terminals. Showcasing technology from world-class installations such as San Diego Convention Center were captured and showcased on stages across the world in Spain. Eric is a former NASA rocket scientist and was an executive at Qualcomm at the corporate R&D division. He holds a series of patents. He assisted Qualcomm and others to launch and define a series of technologies, from 5G to augmented reality. He's won numerous awards, he's started numerous companies. At the University of Salford, he assisted in defining Industry 4.0, setting up 5G test facilities, and defining autonomous car and bus schedules across the university. Eric, Spark Compass, and Total Communicator Solutions Inc. have received numerous endorsements and have partnership agreements, memorandums of understanding, and channel partnerships in numerous entities, companies, organizations, and the world leaders in technology. Brands, marketers, and new organizations are all recognizing the power of the Spark Compass platform in ways to communicate better with their customers, readers, fans, and friends. An avid and awarded patent writer, Eric has a series of patents pending across the world. Eric has met with and advised world leaders with hands-on advice, from the patent box at 10 Downing Street to discussing and showcasing healthy living platform for office workers within the Health and Services Department at the White House. Various leaders around the world are giving Eric and his team incredible endorsements, from NXP to Samsung to Qualcomm to Walmart. These top global leaders recognize Eric's true talent, great desire to succeed. As you can tell, Eric has exciting times. He loves what he does. He loves to showcase it wherever he is, and he's been blessed with remarkable people from the top of the world to sailboats, to TV studios, to soccer stadiums, and with friends around the world. These are indeed exciting times. Deployed globally in numerous enterprise settings, tested, validated, and endorsed, the platform gathers real-world data, applies augmented intelligence to deliver information and context while measuring results versus desired outcomes. Awarded visionary innovator and excited leader, Eric Biontegard showcases the platform with enthusiasm and excitement.